Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. The phrase, education na scam, is a slang expression in Nigeria that reflects the frustration and disillusionment many people feel about the education system. It suggests that formal education does not guarantee success or a better quality of life, as people, of course, expect. The phrase has gained popularity, especially amongst young Nigerians, due to systemic issues in the country's education sector and the broader socio-economic challenges. It's another beautiful episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways, What Are You Saying? And my name remains Osayua Mesale. So tonight I'd like to ask you, is education truly a scam? Do you agree with that phrase, education a scam? Now remember, Ways is all about you. You are the why in Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single day and add your voice to the discussion. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Hit that subscribe button, like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow and join the conversation right now. Do you believe that education na scam? Do you believe so? So when I open the phone lines, I'd really love to hear your thoughts on this. And of course, as I attempt to explore this topic, let me allow you to ponder on my quote for the day, right? So it says, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. And this was from Albert Einstein. I want you to think deeply, because every single time the subject of education comes up, we often equate education to the four walls of a building, right? But education is beyond the four walls of a building. Education is beyond schooling. That's why I love this quote so much. Education is what remains after one has forgotten. Like, I studied physics many years ago. I graduated in 2005. I can't remember what I studied in physics. But there's an education that happened whilst I was in school, right? Life, and all of those things. Those are the things that stays with you. So I want us to ponder on this quote and think deeply about it. So I'll delve into this burning topic for today. But first, I'm off on a break. When I come back from that break, I'll let you in on my news interest for the day. Stay.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, you're still watching Ways, and thanks for staying with me. All right, so I'll start with my first news interest for the day. Of course, it's in line with the conversation that we're going to be having, much later today. Is the principal in Delta State. He's a Reverend Father, right? He's the principal of Our Ladies High School, Efuru, in Delta State, Reverend Father Israel Oshoke Inaede, Esquire. He's lamented that the prevalent education as scam ideology amongst youth and school children of today, not only in Delta State but across the country. He's lamented that this, of course, this was just as he also decried the increasing rate of internet fraudsters called Yahoo Yahoo. He also decried the increased rate of prostitution, and also known that, that one is also known as runs amongst school-age children. He was sharing this, at the school's remarkable success story with renowned human rights activist comrade Agogo, I believe, yeah. And he said that we need to curb this menace that is happening. So I saw this story and I was just smiling. Because why I was smiling is because yesterday I had Randy Peters on the show, and I remember us having a conversation after the show, like backstage, we're talking, and I told him, I said, you have not given people options. Do you understand? You haven't given people options. If you take proper, like, intellectual events or events that has to do with, mind exploration and, anything, education, science, and all of that, it doesn't really gain a lot more traction like the events that are education. That are entertainment. So we need to be very intentional about, putting, like, spreading our resources across all events. And it also shows within our budget. So yeah, I get you that you are not particularly happy about the rise in this educational scam matter, the ideology. However, I think when I talk about it much later, we'll dig deeply into why, it is actually gained a lot of roots, right? All right, so I'll take my next story. A 35-year-old businesswoman, she was arrested for child battery. I thought to just share the story because for me it was just really, really tiring. She is, of course, the Imo State Police Command has arrested her. She's identified as Idris Mwachukwu. She battered the 13-year-old house help, Kelechi Ejike. The suspect was arrested yesterday evening by operatives of Owerri Urban Division Police Headquarters after the minor was rescued from her at the popular relief market in Owerri. A journalist activist who, of course, bossed this woman yesterday, she said that this woman accused the minor of stealing money, right? That she accused the minor of stealing money, and that was why she battered her. The person that actually ratted her out was the founder of a non-governmental organization. And of course, they came and they picked her up at the market. He disclosed that alongside other traders in the market, they had rescued this young girl from her. First of all, I'm still wondering why we still have underage people as helps, right? I know that this is also stems from poverty because a lot of people actually go to give their children out to other people, all in the name of, help me out and all of that. So I know it stems from this, but I'm happy she's been arrested. and I'm hoping that we see the end of these things. Is it not funny? Because Peter Andis and I were talking yesterday, and we were saying that it's not funny how ritual killings, different kinds of things that happen. There will be a what's it called? They'll parade them in the face of the media and everything, and all of a sudden, everything just goes quiet. We don't hear anything about them. We don't know how it's, whether how it's going or how it's whatever. We don't know anything. So I think even for the cases that we say, oh, they've been arrested, they've been this, they've been that, let's be intentional about following up. Let's even know, because, I heard a very interesting story yesterday that somebody that, the case also went viral all over the place, a human rights advocate and activist actually was trying to follow up on that story and went to the set correctional center that this person is supposed to be remanded, right? And he was nowhere to be found. So meaning that he was released. I said, wow, only in Nigeria. All right, so we take a break. When I come back from that break, let's discuss if education is a scam. Stay with me.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, I'll start by exploring why education is not valued in Nigeria. And trust me, it's pretty obvious, right? And when they say education is a scam, there's a reason we have, an undervalue for education in Nigeria. I'll start with to say that, the high rate of unemployment, right? Many educated Nigerians, they always struggle to find jobs after graduating. And of course, this creates a perception that education does not lead to financial independence or career fulfillment, unlike what, we were raised to believe, that you go to school and all of a sudden, you become better and all of that. So yeah, that's, I think, we'll start off there. The high rate of unemployment, you see a lot of people graduate, they are unable to get decent jobs, right? I recently put out an application to hire a few people within the company, and I know how many applications came through. The positions were very, very limited, but if you see the number of people that applied, you can tell that, Nigeria unemployment is a big struggle, is a big issue. And honestly speaking, I don't think it will take anything from the government to really fix the problem. So if you're asking why people believe education is a scam, that would be one reason. And I'll move on to skill mismatch, right? So even as we are complaining about the educational system, right, the education system in Nigeria often emphasizes theoretical knowledge over practical skills. And this is what I always say, right? That imagine me studying physics for how many years, and all of a sudden, I do not even understand how to put together a circuit. How does it make sense? You're studying engineering, you're not able to have the tools to be able to practicalize what it is that you have learned. So the educational system in Nigeria is often emphasizes what's it called, theoretical knowledge over practicality. And that's why people just kind of believe that it's a scam. And that's why when you see people that are skilled, right, they hardly will bring up all of these submissions because they know that their skills can always bring something for them. graduates, many of them, they lack the competencies that are needed for the job market of today. So it makes their qualification seem very irrelevant. Because as it stands now, I might have a degree, I might even have a first class. But how does that first class translate into the work or the role that is needed to be filled? So that's why you see that after education right now, people are continuously hammering on the fact that every single graduate, you must go and learn a soft skill. Be it whatever the skill is, be it anything. Even me, I studied project management, I studied product management. I've done trainings in a little bit of all these designing of templates, Figma, using whatever, Jira. I've done all of those things. Because it's not enough for you to just say, I have an education. This year, I'm thinking of doing about 2 new courses as well to add to my skill within the media sector. I've done trainings on SME. I've done different kinds of things because that is the only way your seemingly qualification can be relevant. So when you are asking why people will continue to say education is a scam, it's because it seems like, my certificate is just useless. I'll move on to the third point that I'm trying to highlight today. Poor quality of education. So we don't even complain, say, first of all, there's no priority in education, or there's so many unemployment. Secondly, we said that that you don't have the right skills, so it seems like your qualifications are irrelevant. The education in itself that we have today in Nigeria, poor, very poor quality of education. So many schools really lack the proper infrastructure, right? They lack the proper infrastructure. They lack well-trained teachers. They lack access to modern learning resources, which of course now leads to substandard education that doesn't prepare the students adequately for the real-world challenge. So it then goes back to the fact that I have the Pali, but the Pali is useless because I cannot apply it in real world. That's it. So the quality of the education also matters. And this is why I say to our government or our leaders, right, don't just say free education. We've moved past that stage of free education. We have a lot of challenges in Nigeria, and it's not just free education we need to be hearing. What is the quality of the education? What skill set will I come out with after I have been educated? Those are the real questions we need to start to poke our leaders. So when they come out for campaigns every 4 years, let us be intentional about tabling these real questions to them. Don't tell me you'll give me free education. What are you educating me on? What skill will I be able to, what skill will I be able to brag about when I'm done with that education? So the quality of that education is very important, right? And of course, you cannot take away the fact that corruption and mismanagement is still a big problem. Why people will continue to feel like, education is a scam. Because mismanagement of funds, even within the educational sector, and the lack of accountability have led to deteriorating conditions in schools and universities, making education less appealing and impactful. People are not interested. I'll go suffer myself, all the stringent conditions and everything. Do we talk about all the strikes that have happened over the years? I'm supposed to study a course for what? For 4 years. I end up spending 10 years on that course. I believe that most of these strikes and all of these things that are happening is just linked to pure corruption, of course, mismanagement. So this deteriorating state or deteriorating conditions of our schools, universities, it doesn't even make it appealing for me to want. I said something. I was in the US early last year, and I visited a friend of mine, her daughter's school. Oh my goodness. It's like me. I was hoping that they can just enroll me in that school. Even if you're not interested in reading book, just the environment alone, you fall in love with the idea that you're a student. Which universities can we brag about here in Nigeria? What kind of structures do we have? What kind of infrastructures do we have? What kind of conditions, learning conditions have we subjected our students to? So if we keep on hearing the conversations around education being a scam, right? This is why I'm pointing out some of these things. We move on to success stories of non-educated individuals. High-profile success stories of entrepreneurs, entertainers, influencers who succeeded without formal education. They will tell you, this one is a dropout. That one is a dropout. Who succeed? They succeed. Of course, they are successful without formal education. And this has often overshadowed the importance of education. And it then reinforces the notion that education is unnecessary for success. And that's the truth. So you hear, oh, all these Silicon Valley guys, they didn't have a formal education. You understand? They are school dropouts, but see them, they are successful. And that is the same tagline that Yahoo boys will always use to all these young boys. You don't need to go to school to succeed. If it is success you want, school is not your answer. Do you understand? Education is not your path to success. Come, let me show you how to do 1 or 2 things on a laptop, and you'll be successful. So these are real things that actually confront and continues to fuel that notion that education is a scam. Of course, limited value of certificates. Now, you see this one. We've talked about the quality of the certificate, right? We've talked about the quality of the certificate. So now, when you even have a quality certificate, there's this issue around corruption and nepotism, where job opportunities, especially within Nigeria, often goes to people with connections rather than merit. Do you understand? So if somebody is trying to employ you, it is who you know, it is who you can pay. You have heard of so many cases where they tell you, oh, to get a federal government job, go and pay X. I've heard it too. In fact, they offered me one, you know, to get a government job. So now it's no longer, there's no value in your certificate. So that is why somebody can have the boldness to just go and buy a certificate, because they know that they don't need to prove that that certificate, they earned it. All they need to do is to go and pay somebody, or they know somebody in civil service, or they know somebody somewhere, and they will get a job. Right? So this issue around job opportunities in Nigeria that often goes with connections rather than merit, it diminishes the value of educational qualifications, or the value of education in our country. I'll move on to globalization and brain drain. Now, many Nigerians, right, value foreign education, and I'll tell you why, over the local education, because it is perceived to provide better opportunities. I remember one year like this. My sister is extremely brilliant. I mean, she's a first-class material, right? Extremely brilliant, successful. She's always very, very meticulous and dedicated. In fact, amongst my siblings and I'm the worst. I'm the least whatever, because both my siblings, because I'm in the middle, the older and the younger, they are extremely meticulous. They take their time, you know, very brilliant, you know, they read, they do all of that. I don't have that time. I'm brilliant, but I don't need to read to pass, you know. But they take their time, they do all of those things. I remember that. There was a particular job that she had moved to. She had just switched jobs and all of that. And all of a sudden, a young girl came from nowhere because she had a foreign certificate. And guess what happens? This girl all of a sudden became her boss. She wasn't qualified to be her boss. She became her boss. Not only that, the one that paid her most, it wasn't even about title. It was more of the salary, that she was earning like 3 or 4 times more than what my sister was earning. And my sister said, why? When I'm doing all the work. And she was still the one doing all the work. But because what? She had a foreign certification. She had a foreign certification. So this has led to a very sharp decline in the trust of our educational systems within Nigeria. So most people, I'll rather take my pali, or take myself, gather all the crumbs I can gather all the money I can gather, and go abroad and study. And that's what we're doing. Paying through our noses, because we know that if we give our children foreign certifications and all of that, they have a better chance, especially if you want them to come back to Nigeria, they stand a better chance to be seen. So you see how all of this. So when somebody comes and says, oh, why are we fueling this notion that education is a scam? Of course, they'll continue to fuel the notion. It is the reality. So we need to be intentional about some of these things. That is the only way, like to actively address some of these issues that I have raised. That is the only way we can succeed. You know, in Nigeria, we really don't have a lot of financial capacity, but yet you see a lot of people. The 2 biggest tourisms that we have, right, medical tourism and educational tourism, a lot of Nigerians, they go abroad to go and study. They go abroad for medical, for medical treatments. Despite the fact that it's not like we have all the money in the world. People would scrap everything, sell everything to just leave. Why? Because they believe that those certifications will give better opportunities for them. So I'll go to a short break, right? When I come back from that break, I'll share now how dishonesty, right, has played a huge role in pushing education as scam narrative. Because you see, In all of these things, you really can't take away the place of corruption, dishonest transactions, lack of integrity, lack of accountability. And I feel like those are the strongest things that have really, really pushed this narrative that education is a scam. I'll be right back.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, if you just tuned in, yes, tonight my question for you is, do you agree with the people that say education is a scam? Let me say it in the pidgin English, education is a scam. Do you agree with those people? And if you do, please, or you don't, whatever it is, let me hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also call the phone lines. The phone lines are now open, 07025007749 or 07014242420. Let's hear what you have to say about the conversation. So I'd like to say that people who earn income dishonestly, because remember, before I went on a break, I said I want to share how dishonesty plays a significant role in fueling this narrative of education as scam. So people who earn income dishonestly have significantly fueled this education as scam narrative in Nigeria, especially because they are creating an environment where wealth and success appears to be detached from hard work, right? Everything they are doing, it's not as a result of hard work. They're just doing some soft work, and all of that, and yet they're able to get wealth, and they're able to get success. And they just completely detach it from hard work, from integrity, from formal education, right? And of course, if you want to now break it down further to see how these have contributed to the perception, right? Look at it now. Glorification of quick wealth. Many individuals who engage in fraudulent activities, what you call internet fraud, Yahoo, corrupt practices, they often flaunt their wealth publicly on social media, of course. And they do that in communities and even in religious settings, and nobody questions it, right? So when you continue to glorify, quick wealth, why wouldn't you, of course, agree with the idea that, education is scam? They always portray a lifestyle of success, without the long-term effort that is associated with formal education. So they have the success, but they didn't have to go through 4 years. They didn't have to go through 8 years. They didn't have to do all of that. Let me just teach you one or two based on skills. Online, you just go online, in 1 month, you begin the pick. I think that's their English. You call the pick. I learned it today because I saw a video on social media where a girl was saying that if you're a Yahoo person, you've started picking. So picking means that you started earning money, right? So they continue to portray this lifestyle of success without the long-term effort associated with formal education. So they make dishonest shortcuts to wealth seem more appealing than the traditional path of earning a degree and working hard. Why would I waste my time? I've shared the story about the young boy that said, no, he was told that why do you want to do all of that when you can just, within a few months, you can start to earn very good money, buy a big house, buy a Benz, buy a this and all of that. So this is one path, right, where dishonesty has played a huge role in continuously, fueling that narrative about education as scam. Now, undermining meritocracy. You see dishonest earners, all this way they collect money anyhow, Yahoo. They often secure opportunities, contracts, recognition through different things. They will go through bribery, nepotism, fraud. They will sideline all the qualified individuals who have, of course, spent years in acquiring education and skill. All those dishonest people, they will do that in a heartbeat. And so you will now be wondering, so what am I wasting my time, my years for? It doesn't make any sense. Why am I wasting my time? If somebody can just come from nowhere, right, just scam their way through, why would we continue to have bribery and corruption? It's because, you understand, it is a thing, right? So they will just come, they will bribe their way. They will, of course, their parts for nepotism, they will go through fraud, they will do all sorts of things. And so you have said, now they say, before they say, patient dog eat the fattest bone, they say, now, patient dog no see any bone. That is what is happening now. So, they'll continue to do that. So as long as that continues to happen, it will continue to fuel that narrative that says education is scam. And of course, this creates a belief that merit and education are irrelevant in achieving success. Concerning anybody. So, and this, of course, also further discourages young people from valuing education. Why will I waste my time? If this one can just come like this and do whatever he wants to do, and he has gotten what he wants, so why am I wasting my time? So everything that we do right now, everything that we're doing is fueling this narrative, and we will continue to, continue to enjoy the perks of the narrative for as long as we are not also ready to tell ourselves honest truth and then, of course, intentionally change our ways. Role models of dishonesty, right? In some communities, fraudsters and corrupt individuals are celebrated as heroes because of their wealth and ability to provide for others. I've heard of stories how fraudsters intentionally go to take, what do they call them, chieftaincy titles. We even have an example in the news. One of former governor, this current governor of Ogun State, Dakwa Abiodun, one of his aides, remember he was arrested in the US? What was his crime? Was it not fraud? And he's a chief, he's wanting. This is what I see literally, right? All these things are so obvious. So when you are shouting and shouting, when the Reverend Father was saying that we should stop feeding the narrative, wanting, see, the things are deeper. Because even in the churches, right, it is the people that are able to show off affluence and all of that. Now then, pastor go recognize, pastor go know your name. He go tell you, come sit down for front. He go call you, come out and say, come hold mic, me you talk. We know one pastor that is always doing that with celebrities now. I'm not trying to throw shades here. But that's the reality. If we're intentional about changing some of this narrative, then we must be ready to embrace and the truth and tell ourselves that, okay, I think even me too, I'm part of this thing that is causing it. Right? Because for as long as we continue to promote dishonest people and encourage and also celebrate them as heroes, it will continue to fuel that narrative that you do not need to do the right thing. You do not need a formal education. You don't need any of all those things. Now, this contrasts with the struggles of educated professionals who often earn modest income, making it seem as though dishonesty, of course, dishonest paths are more rewarding, are a more rewarding option. You understand? Because we have celebrated the heroes. This one now contrasts it. I was talking with my sister. My sister has been working for God knows how many years now. We did our NYC in 2006, 2007. And, okay, so till date, she's working. I said, have you been able to afford can you buy a Benz? Can you buy a Range Rover? Meanwhile, you just see one small picky from nowhere, just go buy Range Rover. Why now? It will make it seem as though dishonest path is more rewarding than the other options. Right? So I'll move on to my fourth point I would like to point out on this, how dishonest earners and dishonest people have also shaped and continuously fuel the narrative. It says erosion of trust in institutions. So now, let me break that down for you. Corrupt officials who often embezzle public funds, they often have high educational qualifications, sadly, but they misuse that opportunity. So this reinforces the notion that education is now a tool for manipulation rather than societal progress, further discrediting the value of formal education. Because now, we've seen that even right now, within our governance structure, all the way they speak BB grammar, they use English, they finish us, and they are depleting our national, treasures and all of that. This then makes it look like, if somebody that has this level of education up to PhD, whatever is doing this, then of course, of what value is that to me? You might not agree with that notion, but I want you to step back and think about it deeply, because the truth is, right, sometimes we excuse behaviors of certain people because we equate those behaviors to person is not educated or no know anything they do, right? We excuse it. But when we now start to see people that have very high qualifications and all of that, and they do certain kinds of things, it just changes the perception, right? So delayed gratification. You see, honest, educated professionals usually work for years to build their careers. Remember what I said about my sister? And achieve financial stability. But in contrast, dishonest earners often amass wealth rapidly. Now, they create the illusion that education is a complete waste of time and effort. Why? Because they can get it now. So you have been working for years and you're not able to afford certain kinds of luxurious things that you see people do. So when the Reverend Father was talking about Ron's girl don't date since, so even before they born me. You understand? Ron's girls don't date university since before they born me. I remember that even when I was in university, there was a girl that was dating a governor. You see the babe? She had everything. Her skin was glowing, everything. Till today, she's still a Ron's girl. And he's paying her. Because I'm always seeing pictures of her inside yachts, inside this, inside that. So the truth about it is that it is a reality that we have come to accept, right? But for as long as this continues to happen, right, you see some level of achievement when it comes to the people that are, earning money dishonestly and all of that, rapid wealth and all of that. So how wouldn't you also somewhere, even though you know is wrong at the back of your mind, why wouldn't you also say that, I beg, education is a waste of time, right? So we also move to young people who are easily influenced by this lifestyle, this ostentatious lifestyle that of these people that are earning dishonestly. You just see people, this one is on a private jet, this person is living the life, especially when they see their peers achieving so much financial success without any formal education. I remember there was a beauty queen in this country. Whilst we were in school, she had some issues and she was asked, years later, I just saw her everywhere. She's successful. She's in Hollywood. I say, hey, now, wow. Let's say they're this part-time paper, so all this will go book. Who book help? So this pressure may lead to us questioning the relevance of schooling, when it seems to bring slower rewards. You see why we need to really, really intentionally put value back in the educational system. We must put value back in things that have to do with intellect. Because you see, the more we continue to not focus on those areas, it continues to deplete the relevance of education. I have not said that it is a bad thing for people not to go to school and succeed. No. What I'm saying is that as it is today, it has really, really made that gap very wide, where people they're not even interested in school. You see, before, runs get they do runs, but she go still go school. Now she just tell herself, say, I beg, and we think, who school help? I don't need any school. I just focus on my runs. That's what people are doing now. People are focusing on different kinds of things but education. But let me stop here for a bit and explain something. I also believe that, I want to tell you that I don't believe education is a scam. Because education, as people see it, they think is the four walls of a school. I think I'd mentioned it earlier. What I believe is a scam in Nigeria, and it is just because of the quality and the structure right now. In other places, it's not. But in Nigeria, school is a scam. Do you understand? Like school, this school that you go to. Because why? If we had the right quality of education or the right quality of schooling, you understand, then schooling becomes relevant. But when we are not being taught properly, we are not being taught with the right tools, with the right infrastructure, in the right environment, then it's a complete waste of time to be put or boxed in those four walls of a school. I will rather go and get an education in a skill. So you see I'm now, Abi? See the difference? Because education is not schooling. Schooling is part of the bigger, education is the broader thing. And schooling is just an arm of that thing. Education is everything around. On your street, you're being educated. When you see the way government is relating with the people, you are being educated whether you like it or not, subconsciously or whatever. The way you relate with your parents or the way your parents relate with you are being educated. The way you relate with your peers and the way your peers, you are being educated. If you travel around the world and you are seeing different places and all of that, you are being educated. Why? Because now your mind is being, Your mind is being, there's so many information that is going through and processing in your mind. And that is what education basically is. Right? So if you ask me, I would say schooling is a scam in Nigeria. But education is not a scam. Because education is what guarantees that you will be self-sustained. Right? So I would like to also touch on this hustle culture. I've really never liked that word hustle. My hustle. I don't want to hustle. Right? The rise of the hustle culture glorifies any means of making money, regardless of the legality or morality, as long as it is bringing material success. And that's why I don't like that word. Mojo hustle, mojo run and one or two, just quickly enter. Because that's what they do. When I was in university, somebody offered me, that they were supposed to do one ushering job. Me, I didn't know. I was wondering. So the only thing that really got me was the fact that the guy said that the ushers needed to be slim, they needed to be tall, they needed to be yellow. And I asked him, I said, Oga, what is the usher? I was literally naive. I couldn't ask the guy, I said, what the usher they do? What does the usher do? He said, no, that you're just going to be welcoming, just like the way you have ushers in church, you're just going to be welcoming the guests. So you see where God now helped me. See, my papa at least and my mama, they give us sense small. And I asked the guy, I said, okay, if it is to go and be carrying somebody to their chair and with the way ushers do in church, then why do I have to be tall? Why do I have to be yellow? Why do I have to be slim? You don't understand? Anybody can do that. Why do you have a specific this? I said, I beg. Even though the money was tempting, because how much was my allowance then? My allowance then was like maybe 8K. And the guy was saying that per day, they were going to give me 15K. It was a tempting money. But you see, my father also taught us contentment. My parents taught us contentment. So I said, I beg. My parents sent me to school to come and read book. I cannot go and do ushering work. That's why I take escape. Only God knows I for become tomorrow. Maybe this ever for become Rosge, right? But you see this idea of hustle. I know a lot of young girls, they'll just go, let's quickly just go and do one weekend hustle and come back. All those things is different things. So So that's why I really don't like that word, because it just glorifies making money by any means, regardless of the legality or the morality or whatever. It just, as long as it's bringing material success. And again, nobody questions it. So in such an environment, education seems unnecessary, right? Of course, it seems unnecessary because there's no need. Let's just focus solely on just the making of the money. Why do we need an education? So that hustle culture, that hustle spirit also is part of what fuels that ideology that education is a scam. Now, I don't want to leave all the negative, right, and just leave it there. Quickly, if we must counter this, I think I've been mentioning how we can combat these things, but I'll also break it down. If we want to, counter the negative impact of dishonest income earners on the educational scam narrative, right, we must, as a society, promote integrity. We can't emphasize this enough. You must promote integrity and hard work. So what I think I require from people is that, so I've not said don't celebrate anybody, but I'm saying that when somebody has taken the extra pain to do certain things legitimately and really worked hard, and you can tell that this person has worked hard step by step to achieve this, let's not take it lightly, right? Because I just feel like every single time in this country, what we promote, all these content creators, blogs, and all of that, the kinds of things we promote, we are the root cause of our problem. Let us even try. Yes, it might have like fewer likes. It might not get a lot of likes like the other stories will go viral. But let's be intentional about creating that balance. So we must promote integrity, promote hard work. We must celebrate individuals who achieve success through legitimate and ethical means. We must also enforce, right, consequences of dishonesty. So now, all these people that they have been arrested for beheading certain people because of ritual, whatever, what is the law doing about them? We must strengthen the laws and our enforcement and penalties for fraudulent or corrupt activities to deter others. This thing that we are not punishing, or there's no, the justice system, you understand, is flawed. It's affecting a lot of things. Because now people don't believe that. They believe they can get away with anything in Nigeria. As long as you have money, you can get away with anything in Nigeria. That narrative has to be killed, like buried, for us to be able to move forward. So the consequences for dishonesty, we must strengthen the laws and enforce penalties for fraudulent or corrupt activities to deter others. We must also create opportunities for, of course, for the educated, improve job availability and career growth for the educated. So you must do all of that. People that have demonstrated, some level of tangible, show of intellect and all of that. Where are the jobs that the government is creating for them? Can we just stop the nepotism and promote people, and let us start to intentionally hire people based on their merits and not because I know somebody, anywhere? And we must shift our cultural priorities. Encourage values like innovation, ethics, and community development over materialism and, of course, quick wealth. That cultural priority must be moved. We must shift it. So if people are coming up with innovative ideas, celebrate them, right? If you see people that are ethical and they're doing their job ethically, celebrate them. But what we see today is that, come on, you two, they do safe. Now, leave you there. I bet shift go one side. If I decline on the job, somebody else will pick up that job and do it. You be mumu now. I beg, who don't want money? Because everything is about materialism and quick wealth. And until we flip that coin and where we start to prioritize other things other than that, things might necessarily not change. We must also showcase educated role models. I think it was Ufoma 2 weeks ago when we had her on Enough is Enough, she was saying it. We must showcase those people. You must highlight successful stories, right, of individuals who have used their education to create lasting impact. If we don't do that, it's going to be difficult, right? Because you see, stories are so powerful. Now that I have grown much, stronger within the media industry, I'm now beginning to see the power of storytelling. There is an intentionality. For any narrative to change, for any society to change, for anything to change, you will see that people are intentional about making sure that they keep on pushing that story. So what stories are we pushing? What stories, what narratives are we sharing? What are we promoting in our media houses? How are we pushing it? How are we pushing those narratives? You know, if we start to intentionally push and highlight stories of successful individuals who have done excellently well, exceptionally well, just by their brain power, what do you think will happen? People would intentionally also start to pay attention and try to exercise their brains and their minds to do things. So if we address some of these issues that I have raised, then maybe Nigeria can begin to restore, you know, its glory. You know, we might now start to have that value for education, you know, and we must be able to also, we might not be able to completely eradicate it, but we might be able to dismantle to some extent the glorification of dishonest earners. You know, where churches will no longer be celebrating you because, you know, you donated a large sum of money. Instead, the church will call you. I remember many years ago, my pastor, Samademi, was preaching and he was saying something around, I think somebody had donated something. And he be like, say they know the guy financial status. You don't understand? Because I know that a lot of churches would hide under the lie that they have a huge congregation. How are they supposed to know all the people that are, forget, as a church, you know where money they come from. You know the people that are the odogus in your church, right? So I remember that time the pastor had said that somebody had paid one kind of huge sum of money, that they had to call the person. They had to ask that, I beg go, you know, how did this money come about? So the person now actually explained the this, the that, and how it came about paying that sum of money as, I believe it was a tithe that he had paid or something like that. So before they were now able to say, okay, I think this is legit money. But how many people can do that, right? So if we really want to intentionally re-engineer the minds of Nigerians about this Nigerian as scam story, then we must be very intentional about making sure that we set a balance, right? Right now, what gains a lot of traction and attention, even on social media, are all the rubbish. See what China did. I mean, I hear that their TikTok, they don't just promote all the nonsense that we promote here, dancing and whatever, shaking a bomb and nudity and all of that. They are more intentional about the quality of the content that they promote on their TikTok. So you see science, you see one guy solving some complex mathematics and all, and they are going viral. They are in millions of views. Go and check our views in Nigeria. What gains millions of views? Rubbish. So that's why anybody can just wake up now and start to cough, and the person don't become celebrity just by the way the person is coughing. Like we just prioritize nonsense in this country. Excuse my French, because that's all I can say. So until we are intentional about like flipping that coin and going back, this narrative of education as scam, it will continue to stay. But I would say, in Nigeria, schooling is a scam. Because why? Our schools are not structured in a way that it leaves you fully empowered when you're coming out of the school. Our schools are more, you know, just come, cram, regurgitate, and leave. Let me take some YouTube comments. Oh, wow, spot on. Thank you so much. He says, I think a good question to ask is first, what is education? I believe so. You would find that a significant percentage of the people who call education a scam might not really know what it is. Absolutely true. He says, and again, maybe the schools we have may not even know what it is either. Absolutely. I couldn't have agreed with you less, honestly speaking, because you see, if schools understood the impact that they had and the role they play in the broader picture of education, I think they would approach their structure, they will approach their curriculum, they will approach all of those things differently, right? So the intentionality of us defining it clearly, like, I mean, the person that had sent a message on YouTube, Talent Speaks, said, it's actually very true. We need to be intentional about defining it. And that's why I said that if you asked me, schooling is what I would call a scam in Nigeria, because schools are not structured to empower people, right? It's just structured to just come, take what I have given to you and give me back. You're not empowered. So that's why when you are in the real world, you cannot apply yourself to real life situations. So until we flip it, practicality of our curriculum, how practical and applicable are those curriculum in real life situations, then we can be intentional about changing, some of the narratives on schooling, right? So I would like to say that it's not all bloom and gloom, right? For those that your only gift is intellectual capacity, there's a place for you. But I feel like, I don't want you to approach schooling the way it's been done in Nigeria. You must intentionally ensure that at every point in time in your life, you are adding a skill to whatever it is that you are learning in school. So, for instance, I don't know what it is that you're learning, whatever course it is that you're learning in school, be intentional about going online, and thank God for technology. That is one of the beauty of technology. Go online and find the relevant skill that would ensure that even after you have left the four walls of that school, you are able to apply what you have learned in a practical life setting. So you have to be intentional about getting certifications and all of that, because those are the things that would then guarantee that you will not be amongst those people that are struggling to either get a job or even become entrepreneurs. Thanks for watching. Before I go, ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channels at Official Upgrade TV. You can like, share, interact with us, drop your comments. Please share this link to somebody that you think needs to hear this. Now, if you missed my quote for today, but Albert Einstein says, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. So you see why I said that it is the school that is the scam. Education is not the scam, right? So be intentional about adding knowledge and adding skill to whatever it is that you know, even whilst you're in school. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.